Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, Senior Pastor of New Life Christian Center, located at 400 Hillcrest Avenue, Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. So if you're ever in our area on Sunday morning at 10 a.m., we invite you to come and worship with us. We invite you to come and experience a better quality of life. And if you're not in our area, you can tune in for the Sunday sermon, which goes live at 10:45 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Wherever you are across the U.S. and wherever you are around the globe, we invite you to tune into our virtual sanctuary every Sunday morning on our YouTube channel at New Life Christian Center Pastor Pope. And so I say to all of our listeners and viewers, thank you for allowing us to come into your listening and viewing environment. We are broadcasting live from the FijiWater.com sponsored studio, where you can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families. You can discuss dating and relationships, whatever's in your heart, whatever's on your mind. God is concerned about that which concerns you. And that is the reason that we are here with you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, which is brought to you daily by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer, where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the blue cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. This is not just ordinary water. This is Earth's finest water at FijiWater.com. And so I want to say to all of our listeners and viewers, before I address some of the communications that have come in from our listeners and viewers, we have so much going on at New Life Christian Center. We have a public charity that we launched 2 years ago. And it was actually, well, it'll be 2 years this month. And the first month that we opened, we served 89 households. We don't want anyone going hungry. So as quickly as time has gone by over these 2 years, the first month we provided food for 89 households. We don't sell food, pardon me if you got that impression, or if I misspoke. We don't sell food. We give food away to households. 89 the first month. The month of July, last month, we gave out to 1,067 households. 2 years, the public charity has grown because so many people are just in need, and just in need of a little help. And understand this, we have a drive-up food pantry. So we are helping those who just need a little help. Or as I often will say to our congregation, sometimes people have more month than they have money. So we're here to make certain that no one deals with food insecurity. So if you know of someone who's dealing with food insecurities, have them text us on the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424. We will make certain that we provide them with instructions on how they can receive food from our New Life Food Source Pantry. But in order to do this, we also have to continuously be in fundraising mode. So we're asking everyone, donate whatever you can. $1 is not too little. You can Zelle us on the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424. But as much as you can possibly help out, we ask that you will, because not only do we have give out a lot of food, we have a lot of expenses. So we want to just get everyone involved. We want to ask you to support, and we don't want anyone going hungry. In addition to that, we have a vendor fair coming up in September. We also have a gospel jazz brunch going on in November. Dates are posted on Facebook. You can go to our Facebook page. You can find those dates. And we invite everyone. You can purchase tickets for the jazz brunch, gospel jazz brunch, by Zelling 267-992-1424. The vendor fair is September the 20th. If you are interested in being a vendor, email niftythrifties25@gmail.com. They are going to be hosting the vendor fair. We will be present also doing some things, but we want everyone to come out and be a part of that. That is going to raise money for our food pantry also. And then the Gospel Jazz Brunch is on November the 9th. I'm going through these things with you now because we've got a lot going on. Sunday, November 9th from 1 to 3 p.m. So if you want tickets to that, you can also Zelle, again, the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. And we're going to have an announcement coming up for the golf tournament that we're going to be having in November. But we also have a partner golf tournament that's going to be coming up in September. So I'm going to give you all of that information. It'll be posted. We'll be sharing a lot of that information with you. We have some really great opportunities for people to experience not only the game of golf, but you can donate also, but the game of golf. But we're also going to be, there's an offering for the Riders Cup in New York. One of the tournaments will be in New York in September. The other tournament will be right here in Wilmington, Delaware at Rock Manor. And that tournament will give an opportunity for someone to go to the Masters in the coming year. So there's a lot happening at New Life, and we want you to be a part of it. We'd love you to come and worship with us on Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. at New Life Christian Center, 400 Hillcrest Avenue, Wilmington, Delaware, 19809. But we're also offering things to the general public so that you can experience a better quality of life. So don't miss out. Stay tuned. We'll keep you informed. You stay connected, and stay connected with us on our internet radio station, WKAPfaith.com. I'm going to address a communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that you are concerned about your son struggling with finding a woman to build a life with, and you do not have any answers for him. You made me laugh when you said help, exclamation point. I will tell you, you may not have answers for him, but God has an answer for him. There is someone God is preparing right now for your son. And I know you want the best for him, and you want him to get married and have children, and blessed is a man that has a quiver full. That's what the scripture says. You may not have an answer, but here's the answer. First, let me go into the issue that we're experiencing in our society today, or what is known as the culture. So one of the things I'm very observant about is that young women, and your son is a millennial, so young women spend more time with their girlfriends than they do spending time developing relationships. Pardon me. I'm going to have a drink of Earth's finest water right here. Pardon me. My allergies are bothering me today, and they have been for a few days. Here's the reality. They want to spend more time with their girlfriends than they do with men, with developing a relationship with men. And then even when they develop or try to develop a relationship with a man, they want to include the men in the relationships with their girlfriends. They want everybody to hang out together in a group. But that's not building a relationship. I'm not suggesting that you should not have outings with friends, but that can't be life's goal, is for women to hang out with their girlfriends and include their male counterparts. This is a theme that has formed in society because women believe now that men may come and go, but their female friends will last forever. Well, men will come and go because they don't know how to have relationships. Women don't know how to have relationships with men. And so I'm going to go back to a revelation that I received from God some time ago, and I've shared this with many people. I've shared it on the broadcast. I've shared it with men who have asked me individually how to deal with the new culture that they're living in. And what I tell them all is one thing, and that is, be patient, because God is preparing someone for you. He's not preparing a girlfriend, he's preparing a wife. But however, what men are going to need to do now to get this right is, if there's someone your son is interested in, tell your son to attend church with you in your area. And I happen to know there's a great Bible-based church in your area. And I don't want anybody saying it's New Life Christian Center, although we are Bible-based, because you're not in our area. But someone might be sitting there saying, Pastor, you're trying to bring them into your church. No. If you were in my area, I would welcome you in our church, but you're not. But there is a Bible-based church in your area. And you should invite your son to attend church with you. And whomever he wants to date, bring them along. In other words, and this is what I tell men constantly, if there's someone you're interested in dating, invite them to attend church with you 3 consecutive Sundays. If she works in healthcare and is a nurse, it may have to be 6 Sundays, because she may have to work every other weekend. But invite them to attend church with you for 3 consecutive Sundays, and out to lunch. Now, you don't need to go to lunch with them, but they can attend church with you, because the church you told me what church you attend, and I know that's a Bible-based church, because I know that it is one of the churches that is in our Champion Network. So I will say this to you. We all are trying to get this thing right. If your son makes the decision to take a young lady out, he should invite her to church. If she refuses to go to church with him, then she's eliminating herself from the equation. That simply tells you that's not the person that God has for your life. If she attends, he takes her out to lunch 3 consecutive Sundays. By the end of 3 consecutive Sundays, he'll know whether or not he wants to, and I always say one for the Father, one for the Son, one for the Holy Spirit. He'll know whether or not he wants to pursue a relationship with her. What he doesn't want to do is allow his flesh to be caught up in, I've gone out to 3 lunches, I like her, I'm going to develop a relationship with her. No, what needs to be done is to listen to her response to the questions he asks, the conversation, the communication he develops with her. What's the life goal? What's the life plan? Share his plan. He has to be able to do all of those things. If he does all of those things 3 weeks consecutively, 3 Sundays consecutively, he'll know whether or not this is someone he can pursue a relationship with. He'll know if this is the one that God has sent him. Now, obviously, he's going to probably choose someone to ask out on a date based on appearance. Does she present herself respectfully? Pardon me. Does she communicate well? When he's having the conversation with her, you've got to look beyond just the flesh. Does she sound intelligent when you speak to her? Does she sound, can I keep it real, ratchet? These are all things that are going on in our culture today, in our society today. So he's got to look at those components. And then he's got to make a decision. if she's going to go to church with him and out to lunch 3 times, then he can make a decision. On the 4th date, do I want to spend time and money taking her out? Not because it's going to be entertainment, not because he's hungry, and not because it's a sport, but it's someone he wants to build a relationship with. Because the reason he's not finding a woman he can build a life with is because he's just dipping into the dating pool. So we've got to try a different approach to this. We can't keep doing the same things the same way and expect to get different results. That's not going to happen. So I will encourage you, and I know you said you're going to ask him if he will listen to this broadcast today. You're a listener. He has not been a listener. But this is directed not at him, but to him. If he wants to find a woman to build a life with, he's got to find a woman who can be a wife, not a woman who is a girlfriend. We got to do things differently now because the culture has shifted. Our society has shifted. People have gotten turned away from God, turned away from the Word of God. People think they can figure it all out for themselves. People are doing a whole lot of things that are not conducive for building a great quality of life. And that's not to say any of us have been perfect over the course of our lives. Many of us for a long period of time were not living for a great quality of life. We were living to enjoy life. So I want to encourage your son today. Since you said you asked him to listen to this today, you've got to make sure that every woman you date now and moving forward, you've got to make certain you're searching for a wife, because he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor of the Lord. Don't look for someone that can be your girlfriend. Look for someone that you can start a relationship, begin to date with the purpose of setting the date for holy matrimony. That's the goal. The goal is not to have somebody to hang out with and lay up with. The goal is to build a great quality of life. So I will encourage you to say, your son will get this right if he seeks that revelation from God. And I will pray that the two of you, when he finds the one, when he finds that one diamond in the field of rocks, when he finds that woman that God has appointed for his life, that the two of you will reach out and let me know that he has found a wife and found a good thing, and he will begin to have favor of the Lord. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. So if you're not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text on the T-Mobile caller text line at 267-992-1424. We will move you into our queue so that you may have the opportunity to become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill. At T-Mobile, America's largest and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated that every relationship you have been in, men have walked away, and you want to know how do you have a successful relationship. Okay, so let me say this to you. Before you do anything else, fix you. And let me tell you what I mean by that. There's one common denominator in every relationship that every one of us has ever had. There's a common denominator. The common denominator is each of us. So you have to say, the men that you have been in a relationship with have walked away because they were no longer content in a relationship with you. And when you can say that within yourself, then you can begin to examine yourself and begin to fix you. Because the reality is that there's something, some reason that each of them have departed. You know, think of it in these terms. We all have had relationships over the course of our lifetime. And each of those relationships may have ended for a reason, whatever it is. But if every relationship has ended because the man has walked away, you have to say there's something I've got to fix within me. And the reason I say that is because sometimes a man leaves a relationship, sometimes a woman leaves a relationship, but every relationship doesn't end just because of you, unless there's something in you that needs to be fixed. And they're not able to fix it. Only you're able to fix it. So if you really want to have a successful relationship, you've got to sit down and examine yourself and say, okay, what is it about my attitude, about my behavior, about my character? What is it that I can repair? What trauma may I have experienced that I can repair? Because it can't be everybody else. It has to be something that we have to fix within ourselves. So when men leave a relationship consistently, man after man, there's something more going on than it's because they just want to be free. Because reality is, men are nesters by nature. We really are just searching for the one person we can nest with. You know, I always draw a visual of, because I'm sure most of us have seen it, particularly if you're a baby boomer, you've seen it where, you know, once upon a time the caveman dragged a woman into the cave. Well, that was a little excessive, but you get the point. He found someone, he wanted to dwell in the cave because he wanted a place to nest. And then he wanted to have children, and he wanted to build a life. He would go out and hunt, and he would come back in. And all of those things were teaching us life lessons. But the reality is that sometimes there are quirks in our attitude. There's sometimes quirks in our behavior. There's sometimes quirks in our character. There's sometimes quirks in our personality. There are things that we can repair or fix that will not destroy the relationships that we're building. So you can have a successful relationship. You've just got to figure out what you have to fix to get there. The problem is when you're having those conversations with your girlfriends, they're not going to tell you that. They're going to tell you men are no good. They're going to give you all the what they call male bashing narratives about why men leave, why men walk away. Men are irresponsible. Men don't want to be accountable. Okay, you can say that, but it doesn't change your current condition. So we've just got to get a better understanding of human nature and realize that men aren't leaving because they want to leave. They're leaving because they don't believe they can nest with you. You just have to figure out and analyze and decide what you can fix about you. And don't get to the point where you think you're no good. You are good. You're a good person. But there's some things that you may be able to fix that will allow you to have successful relationships and allow you to flourish. So I want to encourage you today to say, and this is really for all of us, if you are having problems in your relationships or in your marriage, just examine what you can fix about yourself. The Bible says, let a man, meaning mankind, man or woman, let a man examine himself. See what you can do to fix whatever needs to be repaired in you. And then move forward and believe God that He has appointed someone for your life and has appointed you for the life of someone else. Because the Bible clearly tells us it's not good for man to be alone. This segment of the broadcast is brought to you by Charles Tyrwhitt, located in London, the UK. They also have stores in New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C., and at the King of Prussia Mall in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. So if you're in any of those areas, stop in at their retail stores. They have everything a man could possibly need. And if you're not in any of those areas, you can order from Charles Tyrwhitt at ctshirts.com. And The White Company, located in London, the UK. They also have a store on Fifth Avenue in New York. So if you're in New York, stop in at their retail store. They have everything you could possibly need. And if you're not in New York, you can order from The White Company at thewhitecompany.com. They too will ship and deliver right to your front door in an appropriate period of time. I'm going to address another communication that came in from one of our listeners and viewers who indicated you and your husband have always made your daughter the center of attention. However, it has caused her to believe that she has become someone important to the rest of the world, and you fear that life is going to be much harder for her because of her perception of herself. Okay, listen. There's nothing wrong as parents with us building up our children. So you've made her the center of attention. She's your daughter. That's a positive thing. But once they become of age where they have to leave the household, so 18 years of age, 17 depending on when their birthday falls, if they go off to college, 17 or 18, depending on when their birthday falls, they're going to now have to begin learning how to function in the world outside of your home. So one of the conversations you have to have with them is, okay, you're about to go out into the world, and because you're about to go out into the world, no one's going to treat you with the same regard that you're going to experience right here in your own home. And then after you have that conversation with them, you allow them to go off to college and go through their maturation process. Now, they've got 4 years to learn how to adjust to the way the rest of the world will treat them so that they're now prepared for adulthood at 21 or 22. That doesn't mean they're really adults, it just means they're prepared for the adult world. And the reason I say that doesn't mean they're really adults is because if they're still in any way dependent on you, they're not an adult. But now here's the reality. Now they have to deal with the outside world. They're dealing with adult life. And that's where you have to stop allowing them to depend on you. It doesn't mean you're not going to love them with the same love. Doesn't mean you're not going to give them advice, recommendations when they request. But you've got to stop. Pardon me. You have to stop making them the center of attention, because the rest of the world's not going to make them the center of attention. You've got to allow them to grow up in the world. When they come to visit you, it's their sanctuary, it's their safe space. They're in the presence of their parents. They're going to have all the comforts of home. But the moment they go home or the moment they leave you, they're back in the world, and you've got to allow them to adjust to living in that world, because if not, the world is going to eat them alive. Because the world doesn't care anything about them. Only you care about them. And you've got to remind them of that from time to time, because otherwise they'll continue to believe that they're the center of attention in the world, and their feelings are going to be hurt someday. Because life happens to us all. Today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast 3D has been brought